Hey, I'm Tony Purcell, and today I want to teach you about how money works so that you can learn how to make more money. In order to make more money, you have to understand how money works. And this is a huge misconception in the world because we're not very well financially educated. And so what we try to do, what most people try to do, I've seen examples of like this all the time, even in myself, is that somebody will say they watch the movie The Secret, or they learn about the law of attraction, they read a book, or they even just learn about setting goals and how they're capable of more than what they're currently living up to. And so they have this dream in their mind of creating something more financially. And they set this goal, and it's a certain amount more than what they're currently making. And they have no idea how they're going to make that happen. And so what they rely on is just the teaching of the law of attraction, of setting goals, which is if you focus your mind on something, and if you have a set direction and you focus on that, then eventually you're going to get there. But the problem is that they don't understand that taking the right action is necessary. Let me give you a quick example. Every once in a while, somebody will say to me, when I'm talking about the law of attraction or say anything is possible, they'll say, well, not anything. It's not like a human can just fly. No matter how much you imagine and visualize it, you're not just going to start flying. And I just look at them and I say, well, last time I checked, people fly every single day. I mean, think about it. Every single day, people fly. Not that they just get up and levitate, but they get in airplanes and they fly. Now, in order for that to happen, we must understand and follow the proper rules of physics. No matter how much we visualize it and use the law of attraction, we cannot at the same time break the law of physics. We have to understand the rules and the laws of both, or else it won't work. So in this example, we're talking about money. We have to follow the laws of money, and most people don't know the laws of money. So let me give you a quick example and illustrate for you what money is. Money is just a symbol that represents value. Okay? So let's take it back, before there was money, or theoretically before there was money. There was a baker and a shoemaker, and the baker needs more shoes, and the shoemaker needs more bread. And so they come together. Now for the baker, it's easier for him to bake a lot of loaves of bread than it is for him to go make his own shoes. And the shoemaker, it's easier for him to make a new pair of shoes than it is to bake loaves of bread. And so instead of them each doing it themselves, they each do what they're best at, and then they exchange with each other, and both are better off. This is a key point in understanding this. Both are better off. When a proper exchange takes place, both are better off. Both have value, and the value in the world has increased because both have more value, because they traded what they had, which is valuable to them, but for something that's more valuable. Both of them got something that was more valuable for them. But then it got complicated. What about when the shoemaker wanted some bread, but the baker didn't need any shoes? Well, then how's the shoemaker going to get bread? He has to figure out what the bread maker wants and then go and trade in exchange for whatever he wants and then go try to trade it for him. It just gets complicated, so they invented something called money. And money is a medium of exchange. It's simply a tool to help that exchange process, and it represents value. It's just a universal symbol for value. Okay? Now, the only way to make more money is you have to exchange value for value. So the value is in the form of money. So you want to receive more money, value, you have to give more value to other people so that they'll want to give you their value in the form of money. And that's the only way that money works. It has to work this way. Now let me simplify this even a little bit more, because this sometimes can be really, nebulous almost and just be out there. So here's how money works. The only way to make money is one person has money. They pull out their wallet and they pull out their money and they give it to another person. Now this can work with cash. It can work with credit card. It can work with online transfers. It doesn't have to be that they physically pull out their money and hand it to another person, but ultimately that's exactly what's happening. The only way I have ever seen anybody ever make money is it had to come from somewhere and ultimately from someone and go to that person. And this is the law that people try to break in setting goals, and especially trying to use the law of attraction to create more money, is that they try to break the fact that it's got to come from somebody. And they just want to sit on their couch and just imagine that $1 million is going to fall into their lap. And then when it doesn't happen, they blame the law of attraction. But you've got to understand that in order for that $1 million to fall into your lap, it has to come from somebody. Now, there's two ways that making money can happen. Money going from one person to another person, as I just illustrated. It can happen voluntarily, or it can happen by force. It can be stolen, it can be taken, fraud, that kind of stuff. I personally don't want to make money that way because that's not a good way of making money. It doesn't really make your life better. So the only other way is for somebody to want to give you that money. Somebody to voluntarily take the money that they have and want to give it to you. So how are you going to make that happen? The law of attraction is a critical piece, and it is so extremely powerful. And at the same time, you need to recognize that you have to follow the correct rules of money as well, which means that you need to understand how to create value for people and how to create enough value that people will want to give you their money. Now, does this have to be really, really hard? Not necessarily. It doesn't mean necessarily it has to be really hard. It doesn't mean necessarily that we have to trade dollar per hour. And see, this is the big reason why so many people get stuck, is because where they're at in life, they're, say, at a job where they're getting paid dollar per hour, and that's all they know. That's all they've been taught about money. I mean, literally most people, what they've been taught about money is you go, you get a good secure job who's going to pay you and take care of you. What if you want to increase your money? Most people have no comprehension, no even idea of what it takes to increase their income, which is why it never ends up working for them, and then they discount the law of attraction. Okay, it works. The law of attraction works, but you've got to understand the correct rules of money. So the question you should be asking yourself is, how can I create more value for more people? And that's the way that you're going to get more money. And even above and beyond that, the reason why I said I'm not sticking to just this and gave the example of it has to go from one person to another is because there are some people who just say, okay, well, all I'm going to do is just do good things. I'm going to create more value for the world. And I've actually had people say to me, Tony, I don't know what's going on. I try so hard. I visualize making money every day, and I create value for the world. I actually run an animal rescue, and I save these poor animals, and I set them free, and I rehabilitate them, and I do all of this stuff. So I'm creating value for the world. I'm helping animals, or maybe they're running a charity. They're helping people. They say, I always give my money to, people on the street who are asking for it. And for some reason, even though I'm creating all this value, for some reason it's not coming back to me. And that's two completely different things. I'm not saying that all those things aren't great things. They absolutely are. But they're different areas of life. It'd be like me saying, well, geez, I want to make more money, so I'm going to be nicer to my spouse. And then all of a sudden I'll make more money. No, those are two different areas. That's my marriage and that's my money. Those are two separate things. If I want my marriage to be better, then I need to be nicer to my spouse and follow the rules of the relationship. If I want my money to be better, I have to follow the rules of money and not only create more value, but I have to understand that in order for me to get money, other people have to give me money. And so I need to create value in such a way that people are going to want to give me money. And this sometimes gets a little bit difficult for people to grasp onto, because then they're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm taking money from people. I'm taking money. I don't want to be taking so much money from other people, because especially if you've struggled with money and you've spent so long not having enough money, the thought of taking it from somebody else, oh my gosh, that doesn't feel good. But here's what you need to understand. Money is an exchange of value for value, and whenever a proper exchange takes place, both are better off. So that's one thing that you need to understand, that actually exchanging, participating in this interaction of having other people pay you money actually increases the amount of value in the world. And at the same time, you're rewarded and you get that money financially. So this is the other thing you need to recognize, is that people have this idea, you've heard, we all want to get a piece of the pie. So we have this idea that there's like this pie, and this pie represents all the money that's currently in the world. And we know that about 20% of people control about 80% of the money. So here's 20% of the people in the world, and they've got 80% of the money, which means that this small percent, this 20% slice, is 80% of the people. And if you continue to break it down, it really ends up being that, majority of the people are, pulling from a really, really small piece of that. And so then the thought is, okay, well, we're all fighting. There's such a small amount of money out there, and we're all fighting for our piece, and there's so many people who don't have enough and all this unemployment, that the only way to get more money is to go to somebody here who's struggling for their little piece and take it away from them, and then I have the money. But here's what you need to realize, is that there's no limit to the amount of money. There's no pie. It doesn't work like this. There's not X number of dollars in the world. Obviously today there's X number of dollars. I don't know the number, but there's a certain number of dollars in the world. But think about 1,000 years ago. Think about the number of dollars in the world today versus the number of dollars 1,000 years ago. And 1,000 years from now, it's just going to increase that much more. Next year, it's going to be that many more dollars in the world. Now, how does that happen? Ultimately, the only way that it happens is when people actually make money. When somebody creates something of value and exchange it for somebody else's value in the form of money, and both parties are better off because of the exchange. And that's how you expand that. That's how you can get out of this way of thinking that, oh my gosh, there's this limited amount, and if I make money, I'm taking it from others, because it's not that way. Another way to think about this is just look around the world. Look at the amount of stuff that we have as opposed to 1,000 years ago. All the amount of products, and everything in your house and everything in everybody else's house, every single thing is a product. This marker's a product, this board's a product, a picture frame is a product, a light bulb is a product, a table is a product. Everything, a toothbrush is a product. And a lot of people waste an enormous amount of money on really ridiculous things that don't really improve their life all that much, but they gladly spend their money on it. Now, what if you could sell something that actually changed somebody's life? Something that made a significant difference. Now, I do a lot of online marketing, and sometimes people will say, well, geez, that's an info product. It means it's just a CD. It's not like, it's just information, or sometimes it's even just a digital file. Think of iTunes. iTunes doesn't actually sell anything. It's just a little digital file, but they make, obviously, millions of dollars selling that little digital file. The same thing with information products. You're just selling information. Sometimes people don't get anything physical, but they're paying a lot of money for it. And some people say, well, geez, that's not a real product, so you can't make money doing that. And my first question is, number one, it's not like there's a limitation of money. I'm not taking away from people. I'm making the world a better place by making money. Number two, look at the number of ridiculous things that people spend their money on. Most people who are alive, every single dollar they make, they end up spending. And sometimes on ice cream or on electronics that they don't actually need, or on, more TV stations, and just all this stuff that, again, are great. Nothing wrong with buying those things, but are things that they don't really need. And again, when I talk about being better and having life be better, think about 1,000 years ago, or 2,000 or 3,000 years ago, and all the stuff we have today that never even existed then. And sure, the quality of life is higher. That's how they define it. Oh yeah, quality of life is so much better because we have warm houses and more comfortable, and things in life are just generally better. But the question that I have is, are people really happier? Versus 1,000 years ago, if you went and found a family, are the people today happier? Because what I see is that there's more killings, there's more depression, there's more anxiety, there's more divorce, there's more anger, there's more fighting, there's more, all this stuff. I mean, it just doesn't seem like we're really that much happier as a people, even though all of the stuff that we have. And what I think changes people's lives more than anything is the right information. And I think that's the only thing that really changes people's life is what's going on inside their head. See, you're a creator, and so is everybody else in the world, and you have the capacity to create whatever life you want. And that means the capacity to feel however you want to feel and have the quality of relationships, that whatever you want to have, and just have whatever quality of life you want to have. It's not about what's outside, it's about what's going on inside. And how do you change what's going on inside? By changing what you know, by changing what you understand, by changing your beliefs. And how do you do that? By learning new things. For me, an information product is the most valuable product in the world out there. Okay, so how does this, really apply to you? Again, this is just opening the door of possibility, saying you probably know some things that could change other people's lives. You know some things that have made an impact on your life and that have changed your life. And you probably, if you're still watching this video, you probably have a desire to make a difference and to help other people. Here's what I'm telling you is that you can make a difference. You can help other people. You can change the world. You can change lives. And all of that is value. And if you understand the right way, you can get a lot of value in return. Again, not just by creating value, but by doing it the right way. I mean, Mother Teresa made a big impact on the world, but didn't make money in the process. And there's nothing wrong with that. And at the same time, in my experience, people will take things a lot more serious if they actually pay money for it. And if you're wanting to change somebody else's life, you can't want it for them more than they want it for themselves. And the only way to get them to that point, to want it bad enough to actually take action on it and commit to it and follow through with it, is actually for them to put something up front, for them to actually spend some money. And when they spend money, not only that, but then you have more money to allow you to expand and pay for marketing and build a bigger business and reach out to more people. You can try to make a difference without making money. And again, I've heard from plenty of people who are trying very desperately to make a difference and not making any money. I did it myself for about 2 years. I wanted so badly to teach people the message that I knew, but I didn't know how. I knew this value for value, so I thought I'm just going to create value for the world, but I didn't understand that money ultimately has to come from somebody. And so it's not just create value and just your life's going to be abundant. It has to be that you have to understand the mechanics of how to get somebody else to want to pull their wallet out and want to pull their money out and want to give it to you. You have to understand how that works. And sometimes it's not always easy. I mean, it's going to require you to grow and it's going to require you to learn new skills. But I can tell you that the easiest way to do it ever is with the prosperity team and with the prosperity formula. And here's the reason why. Because it's the only thing that I've ever seen out there. Because the question is, okay, how am I going to create enough value that people are going to want to pay me money? Here's what's so brilliant about the prosperity team is that you have the ability to sell products that have already been created, products that are worth way, way, way more than you actually sell them for. And you have the ability to sell those products for 100% commissions. And that's completely unheard of. I mean, who in the world would create a product and then allow you to go and sell their product and make all the money and they don't make any of the money? It almost is completely unheard of, except for one place, and that's within the prosperity team. Now, why would that even happen? Well, bottom line, I mean, the only explanation could possibly be because the founders were already at a point where they were financially free, and they didn't want another system where they were the guru, where somebody else was selling their product, and they were making a little tiny bit, but the gurus were making millions and millions and millions, but they actually wanted to build a system where they could reach out to someone like you and teach you how to truly be the creator. Now, of course, they have to make money as well. How do they make their money? By standing right next to you, doing the same thing that you're doing in the trenches with you, selling the same products that you're selling, getting paid the exact same amount that you're getting paid, so that then they can teach you how to do it and how to increase your own abundance. Because bottom line, what are we really, really here for? Period. On this earth. I mean, at least the fact that we're all here together shows you something about the fact that we're supposed to be, helping each other through this. And it's just the only system I've ever seen that you can actually sell another product, somebody else's product that is extremely valuable, but you can make 100% of the money. And that's the exchange of value for value. And that's how you get other people to want to give you money, because you don't have to be the instant expert. You don't have to be at a point where everyone wants to buy what you have, because the system already has the sales funnels in place. The system already has the products in place. The system has all the training to teach you how to go out and do it. And you still have to do it. You only make money when you sell a product. But when you do, you make 100% of the money. And that's why you can grow and expand and make money at such an extremely higher rate. So does the law of attraction work? Absolutely it does. Does setting goals and going for them, does that work? Yes. Can you make millions of dollars? Absolutely you can. You have that capacity. And there's one way that it's easier than all the other ways, and that is to use products that are already there and be able to sell those and make 100% of those as though you had built the entire thing yourself, because it would literally take you several years to build the whole thing yourself. So instead, just leverage these other products, and that's what the prosperity team is, and that's what the prosperity formula is. Prosperity formula is the formula for making money. It's below this video. I'm going to have a link or a button or something, and you're going to click on that. And you're going to learn about the prosperity formula, which is exactly what it takes, the exact steps of what it takes to actually make money and expand your financial abundance, because it's possible and you're worth it. So click on that button, click on that link, learn the formula, and then apply it and create whatever it is that you want to and desire for your life. And I'll talk to you then.